and welcome to yet another Just 5 Mins. Yep, I've still got the microphone until somebody takes it out of my hand and buries it. But anyway, what have we got today? Deno. In fact, Deno 2. Did you know there was a Deno 1? And what the heck is it? Well, a long time ago, in a land far, far away. Anyway, is NodeJS. So you may have heard of NodeJS. Okay, love it or hate it, it's there. It's been there for quite some time, and it's used surprisingly by a lot of large companies. You'd be very surprised. Go and have a look on the internet. But it has its problems, not to mention NPM, which is like a package manager. And what the heck is Node.js anyway? It's a server-side language basically, and it uses JavaScript. Okay, instead of things like you might have ASP.NET using C# or PHP or Go or Rustlang or anything like that. So it's that server-side stuff. Okay, and basically TypeScript, which sits on top of JavaScript. So it's a superset. It allows you some nicer ways of programming against JavaScript, because JavaScript can be a little bit messy. Let's just say that. Sorry, just a cough break there. But anyway, the idea is Deno, the guy who created Node.js, Ryan Dahl, not Roald Dahl, who I keep wanting to say, the children's author. I'm sure he didn't create Node.js. Or maybe he did. Maybe that was why it was a bit of a nightmare. No, anyway, moving on. But Ryan Dahl and co and lots of other people, no doubt, realized Node.js had some issues and went away a few years ago and created Deno. And if you just juggle those letters around, you can probably see it was Node and now it's Deno. So there you go, a little anagram there. So Deno came around and said, okay, we're going to try to create what Node should have been, Node.js should have been. Okay, it defaulted with TypeScript, so you didn't have to faff around trying to configure that. But also in that first version or the subsequent releases before version 2, you couldn't use, I think you could get around this, but using NPM modules. There was a way of doing it, but anyway, it didn't support a lot of those directly. It had its own modules and all the rest of it. Anyway, fast forward to October 2024, Deno 2 is out. And I honestly do feel that they've put a lot of good work into this. It's got a lot of good secure by default type stuff that you'd expect. TypeScript there out of the box. The tooling is just brilliant. It's just all built in. It's got built-in formatter, linter, type checker, test framework, and a really clever one, because this is cross-platform, Deno 2 specifically. You can compile to an executable on all of those different platforms. Very nice. It's secure by default, just like browsers. Yep, like the sandbox type approach. But yeah, I'm really quite amazed. Really, it's saying here. I don't know if I've read this correct. It's saying developers who love Deno. With the repository becoming one of the highest starred Rust projects on GitHub, second only to the Rust language itself. Hang on a minute. Do you know what? I didn't do enough research on this. I think it's Rust underneath. My goodness me. My friend Tim will be happy about that. Maybe you won't complain about Node.js, because it's a different beast now, Deno, and Deno 2 especially. So, but Deno 2 allows you to use NPM modules if you must. It's got a lot of amazing stuff built into it. And again, it makes it so easy to actually build a backend application. But the other bits that I don't know how long these have been around. Maybe it's just new with Deno 2. But one or a couple of things that jump out is they've also released Fresh, a framework for Deno, basically. But don't worry, it's not yet another framework like Angular or React or anything. In fact, it's hardly a framework actually, because it is just what you already know. It's just HTML and JavaScript / TypeScript. So you can do server-side rendering. It's got island-based architecture, so you can return snippets, of HTML. And the bit that I really like is the way that they've handled HTML forms, for goodness sake. Finally, it looks like something really quite nice. And the other good thing as well is it's got partials as well. So again, you can refresh, or look, I'm going to go and say that you can rehydrate part of your HTML page. There you go. They love all these words, don't they? So, yep, you can do partials. There's a lot of really clever stuff going on. I think Deno 2 especially is a different beast to anything before. And Fresh, by the way, is released with Tailwind CSS as well. So that's got to be a good thing, isn't it? But the final thing, because I've gone way over the 5 minutes yet again, is they've also got some deployment options, which is quite interesting. I'll put these links below. You can deploy like serverless applications built with Deno. There's something called Subhost as well, where you can host like a SaaS type of setup with customers code. But it looks really cool. There is actually on the pricing plan, fortunately, they've done a really good job, and you have a really quite generous sort of free plan to do the hosting. Now, I know there's lots of serverless hosting options out there, but this is quite interesting. You can have custom domains, all sorts of things, and like I say, it's got some really generous sort of limits for a free version. So anyway, but that's Deno 2. Goodness me. Are you ready to jump in? I really do have to check if it is indeed built on Rust, which it seems to indicate. I don't know if I've got that right, but I'm going to sort of dig into that a little bit. But I've gone over 5 minutes as usual. So without further ado, I'll wish you a good weekend, whatever it might be when you listen to this, and take care until the next one.